Hello friends, I am Karishma and welcome to my channel on Vedic astrology. On 25th and 26th December 2019, we will witness a rare conjunction of six planets in the sign of Sagittarius. The three slowest moving planets, Saturn, Ketu and Jupiter, will take part in this conjunction along with Mercury, Sun and Moon. This conjunction is very similar to the 8-planet conjunction which was seen on 5th February 1962. There will be a solar eclipse on 26th December, similar to what we had on 5th Feb 1962. 1962 was an eventful year. Imagine the planets came together to conspire to cause destruction in the coming months or even years. To keep the length of this video short, I will be discussing events only in India and USA. Astrology works on the principles of repeatability. Based on the events which happened in 1962, we will be making predictions for 2020. India-China War of 1962 started on 20th October 1962 and ended on 21st November 1962. Indian Prime Minister Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru's health started deteriorating from 1962, which ultimately led to his death on 26 May 1964. In USA, the Dow Jones crashed on 28 May 1962. It was the worst day for stocks since 1929 and second largest point decline in history at that time. Steel company shares were down more than 50% from their 1960s highs. The decline is referred to as flash crash when the stock market fell more than 25% over the course of 7 months. Another major event in the US was the Cuban Missile Crisis or the Missile Scare, which lasted for 13 days from October 16 to October 28, when Soviet ballistic missile deployment in Cuba was discovered by America. The confrontation between US and Russia during this time is often considered the closest the Cold War came to escalating into a full-scale nuclear war. I would also like to mention that the President of USA, President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated on 22nd November 1963. Now let's look at the planetary alignment for the year 1962 to find the trigger points for these events. Saturn, which is a significator of iron and steel industry, amongst other industries, goes retrograde on 21st May. Mercury, which is a significator of intelligence and business skills, goes retrograde on 26th May and gets combust on 27th May. Thus both Saturn and Mercury lose energy, and second biggest point decline in Dow Jones history takes place on 28th May 1962. Now let's analyze the conditions causing a war-like situation in USA and actual war between India and China in 1962. Jupiter goes retrograde on July 2nd, signifying loss of hope and trust. Venus signifies positive relationships. Venus enters its enemy sign of Scorpio on October 7th, turns retrograde on 22nd October and combusts on 31st October. Even the Lord of Scorpio, Mars, is debilitated in the sign of Cancer, weakening Venus even further. Thus, world relationships are at the weakest point. A weak Mars triggers fights easily. At the same time, Sun is in its debilitated sign of Libra, signifying weak leadership from October 17 to November 13. We saw both Cuban Missile Crisis and Indochina War of 1962 taking place during this time. Jupiter turns progressive on 29th October and Venus on 3rd December. Thus both Jupiter and Venus become strong. Both the wars end quickly and peace is restored. I would like to take a moment here and talk about great conjunctions. A great conjunction is a conjunction of the planets Jupiter and Saturn, and it occurs regularly after 18 to 20 years. They are also called celestial omens. According to financial astrologer Daniel T. Ferreira, whenever a great conjunction occurs during an election or inauguration year, the president is likely to die in office. Jupiter and Saturn will be in the same sign of Sagittarius on 26 December. However, they will be in the same degree only late December 2020 in the sign of Capricorn, marking the Great Conjunction. Now let's go back to making predictions for year 2020. After 26th December 2019, six-planet conjunction, Saturn will transit to its own house of Capricorn on 23rd January 2020. Jupiter is already in its own house of Sagittarius, and things are looking very good until 10th May when Saturn turns retrograde. Jupiter had entered its debilitated sign of Capricorn on 29th March, but debilitation was cancelled by the strong Saturn in Capricorn. However, Jupiter becomes weak once Saturn goes retrograde. This is further amplified by Jupiter itself going retrograde on 14th May 2020. Venus transits to its own house of Taurus on 28th March. However, it retrogrades on 12th May and gets combust on May 30th, weakening it further. During this time, Mars is in its enemy sign of Gemini and moves to its debilitated sign of Cancer on June 22nd. Sun is exalted in its sign of Aries until 14th May, after which it enters its enemy sign of Taurus, where Venus is already retrograding. Sun will combust Venus on 30th May 2020. Mercury is also sitting along with retrograding Venus in the sign of Taurus. On June 17th, Mercury too will turn retrograde and get combust. Thus, all planets will lose energy in the months of May and June 2020. With Jupiter and Saturn already retrograding, a retrograding and combust Venus can create a war-like situation 12th May 2020 onwards. Similarly, retrograding and combust Mercury can cause the stock markets to crash on 17th June 2020 with the help of retrograding Saturn and Jupiter. Thank you friends for watching my video. If you liked it, kindly hit the like button. Thank you once again.